CO, hello. I am your host, Kay Thomas, on this new episode of Double Feature Movie Club. This is our 33rd episode, and it's a really great show we have for you here this week. I'm joined by two of my favorite people that exist on planet Earth. So here is my co-host, the Siskel to my Ebert, Diane, as always. And then on the other side, we have the Abbott to my Costello, Alex Clair.
Hello.
That's perfect, Abbott and Costello. I always think of you guys as like Gaylord Sartain and Gary Busey back in the day, of the great Zeppelin days. I think if you two are like perfectly cast as those guys. If they ever make a movie, you need to go and audition. But
there you go.
Abbott Costello works too.
Yes. Well,
not as well known.
I love the dynamics that both of you have with me, and I love what we have here. And this is always like every season when we do this episode, I love it because it's like a crossover between our two podcasts, and anytime that Diane's over on Cade and Friends, it's fun, and I just love this. I love what each of us have, and then I love that you two like each other as well. That's always nice.
As opposed to like the private messages you've sent me where you said you hate doing these episodes with every other person who's on there.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah. Well, Alex, it's been a bit since you've been on Double Feature, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a little bit of time.
It's been passage.
I think, if I remember correctly, last time I was here, I was full of freezes. We're going to hopefully avoid any of those.
Yes. So, I was confused there for a second. Yes. Yeah. It would freeze up and everything.
But as you can probably see, my camera compared to the other two is sorely lacking. But progress is progress.
I think you have a mic now, right? That's a new thing, right?
Yes, I do. I have a pretty nice headset.
Yeah. So audio's great.
That's good.
Mm-hmm. Our audio
not as
listeners will be fine.
The audio listeners are going to be in for a treat tonight.
Alex is here to promote one thing. I go ahead, Alex.
The Cade and Friends podcast is going to be releasing. Oh my!
It's fine. I think Diane was playing something or something.
Ava was telling me that you're all messed up on YouTube here. It has the wrong name and all this stuff. So yeah. So I don't know. She's saying that it doesn't come up under Double Feature Movie Club. It comes up under DFMC.
That's been that way for 2 weeks, Ava. Sorry to burst your bubble there.
Well,
okay.
It's good now.
It's fine. Good.
Yeah.
Good. So Alex,
yes.
What are you here to promote? Promote your stuff.
So, our podcast, the Cade and Friends podcast, on this very channel, Kate Thomas, also on Instagram under Kate Thomas, as well as Twitter under Kate Thomas.
Where, if you listen to this as a podcast, it's a different page. It's the Cade and Friends page, yeah.
No, Cade and Friends, yes, if you listen to it. And let's see what else. Patreon. www.patreon.com/KThomas, I believe, at KThomas. Anyways, our podcast is going live again this week. So
we're returning. Season 2 is returning.
Season 2, March the 8th.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
March 8th, this Wednesday in 3 days.
3 days.
Because Today is the 5th. If you're listening to this on March the 5th, it will be releasing on March the 8th, 2023. So we are very excited. We have some great guests, and it's going to be a very good time. Season 1 was a very good time, and we've kind of changed the format a little bit on to Season 2, but we have just as many good guests, some returners, some new people, and it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this new season. It's I think one thing is that it's pivoted to be a little bit more conversation based. We of course do a lot of humor, a lot of funny things, and each one's of course tailored to the guest, and so. It's really fun. It's much more comedy based, of course. It's a lot more things and stuff being thrown at you, as Diane knows, being a guest on that a few times, being a co-host on that a few times. Yeah,
I have not sweated so much in I don't know how long. It was more intimidating than the last corporate ropes course I had.
Oh, intimidating. Okay.
It was definitely held my breath a lot. Chewed my fingernails. Took several shots of tequila after it was over.
We really put the pressure on people this season. We do not hold back. We tear into people, and some people have left crying. But that is our job.
I felt totally exposed, to be honest with you. Yeah.
That's our job, though. We take our job seriously.
Yeah.
You two are better than most investigative journalists that you see anywhere.
It's kind of been a motto we've been thinking about attaching to our name.
Yeah.
Better than investigative reporters.
Yeah. We try to dig up all the dirt on someone, leave nothing on the bone. That's two metaphors that don't really work together, but whatever.
Everything off the bone.
Yeah. There's nothing on the bone left. Everything's been picked. The bone has been picked dry. Okay, and friends. That's our new motto. Changing it again.
Yeah.
We've dug up the dirt and picked the bones. That's what we do on Cade and Friends.
You definitely do that. I'm just grateful that the deep secrets that you wrenched out of me during my time in the hot seat, people have to pay to hear.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm so grateful.
We our paywall is becoming more and more of a paywall.
Yeah.
Which, but it's for the betterment. I mean, we're all the way up to 0 Patreons. So
Like I said, that non-disclosure agreement that I signed, I'm not worried about someone catching me for disclosing stuff I wasn't supposed to disclose.
I in our first episode back, we do a bit of we're plugging our Patreon, patreon.com/Cade Thomas, and we sort of ponder aloud why we have 0 subscribers on there. We have listeners elsewhere, but people aren't paying us, and I think it's because people love the bit of us begging them for money, and they don't want that to end. That it's just it's too good of a bit that they just we got to keep this going. I'm staring at a hole that it just is not filled, and it keeps me up at night, and people like that. Hashtag fill the hole. Yeah. Oh well. Subscribe to our Patreon. You get an extra segment. You get an extra podcast segment on Cade and Friends. It doesn't affect the rest of the all the podcast is free or whatever, and it's fun and everything. But if you do want an extra segment, you can always subscribe there. Please subscribe.
It really is just for a fun.
Yeah.
It really is just for fun, though. I do want to stress that it's just this extra little segment. We did it for fun. I think I had the idea of we always did these bits during mic, whenever we would test our mics, and I was like, what if we just made this add this on or make this a Patreon, and that's where it birthed from. So it's a fun little thing, and sometimes there's really funny bits in it. Sometimes
we hide things that are would get us into legal trouble if they were out in the real world. In Diane's case.
Yeah. Want to find a paywall.
All those non-disclosure agreements.
Yeah.
Before we start, I do just want to bring some attention to the shirt I'm wearing.
Oh, it's a cat shirt.
A cat shirt.
A return of the cat shirts.
It says Meowdy partner.
Okay, I like it.
Isn't that fun?
It's very John Wayne-ish.
John Wayne-ish.
It was
yeah.
It was from my girlfriend.
Okay.
My girlfriend got it for me. My girlfriend Lexi, who was on one of our podcasts.
Oh, well, yes. She was on a Christmas.
Lexi is also the winner of the Christmas podcast. She
did win.
Yes, talented, very talented.
Lexi is a winner.
Mm-hmm. I think most of our TikToks were from Lexi's segment on the Christmas podcast.
Yeah,
they were.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
A lot of good bits.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ava, and thank you, Practical Access.
That's on Twitch. Twitch has a bot problem. Fun fact.
Oh, really?
Well, a view is a view, Cade. So I won't complain.
We're also live on Twitch. I guess for our podcast listeners, we go live Sundays at 6 p.m. Central to talk about this stuff. If you want to listen to our live stream version of this podcast, it's there. So always tune in. It's on Twitch, twitch.tv/CKThomas, or YouTube.
Live on Twitch and live on YouTube.
YouTube's really where most of our stuff is, but every once in a while we don't plug our Twitch enough. Diane and I is going to start doing video games, streaming our video games.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to kick his ass at Huge Journey.
Yeah.
And Minecraft. Lots of Minecraft, right?
Oh, lots of Minecraft, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of Minecraft, yes.
Alex and I have a fully edited, unreleased video of exploring my Minecraft world that I created, and it's been sitting there for years, and we've never released it.
Yeah.
That's probably not
We'd have to, just think about if it was a success, we'd have to hard pivot into gaming, and I don't know if I want to do that.
Yeah.
And it very well could be a success.
Yeah, that's what's holding me back. It's just the possibility of it being a runaway success. That's the problem. That's my fear. Well, I have actually a few notes here that I wanted to before we started our podcast, and before we start, I had a few things. So, first off, this week something extraordinary is happening. Not just our new podcast that we have. Scream's coming out, so you're going to hear me talk all about Scream. I love Scream, so just next week, be prepared. I don't know whoever our guest is next week, but they're going to hear me talk about Scream. Love Scream, love Scream. Scream, Scream, Scream.
How many times are you going to watch it between now and our next podcast?
Oh, probably just the one. I don't know. It's I'm seeing it opening night, Thursday night, and we'll see. I don't know if I love it. Who knows? We'll see. I did want to mention, of course, our podcast. I guess the other note there. So it's starting Wednesday. It's the return. Honestly, thought there was going to be more of a break between. I feel like we just ended our last season. I was like, oh, there's a lot of time between there, but it was just a month ago we ended it. So not a huge break in between it, but a break nonetheless. And it'll return every other Wednesday afterwards. So new episodes, tons of new episodes. I want to reveal starting this time and probably every there we go. Live, laugh, love,
Scream. That's right.
Lexi likes horror movies.
Yes.
So.
Scream's great. No, not to reiterate, that'll be next week when I bore everyone.
Yeah, so let's talk about it next week.
Yeah. But this podcast, it's returning, and I'm going to start on the week before these release, giving a title reveal of each episode, since the titles are something extraordinary, aren't they, Diane? Of Cade and Friends. They're a work of art, each one of them, and they are carefully chosen, carefully dissected between Alex and I, and chosen to be which ones are our favorite.
And no two are alike.
No two are alike. If you want to listen to behind the scenes of some of our naming things, the last episode of last season, the season finale extraordinary, we go through sort of alternate titles and why we landed on these titles, and it's an art project of its own each time.
I might start writing my thoughts out now that I think about it. I didn't do it on this last one, but I think maybe I'll start writing out my thoughts, and maybe I'll go back and write my thoughts on why. But I'm really happy with this first one. I think it is a great one.
I mean, in the past, some of the great ones. Our first one was called Alex Solves Death. We have, of course, Diane's episode.
Well, do we want to release this first one right now?
Yes, we can say it right now. That's what the point was. Is I was going to tell everyone what the title was. So, Alex, if you would have the honor, since you are the guest, what is episode, whatever number we're on? What is the season premiere called of Cade and Friends?
Season 2, episode 1, premiere episode is going to be Alex Butters America.
Wow. Wow. That'll take a lot of butter.
I think it'll be worth it.
Yep.
Is it going to be like Land O'Lakes butter or some Irish butter or, some no brand butter?
I can't believe it's not butter.
Oh.
It's not butter,
Even better.
but you can't believe it.
Yeah. I think that was used back in the 60s for some key parties.
Yeah. So yeah, Alex Butters America. Very excited for that. Episode 18 of Cade and Friends. I
really don't know why I liked that one so much. I just went back and read over all of them, and I don't know. I saw it, and I think I just really wanted butter. Maybe I was eating popcorn. I honestly have no idea why.
It's great. So it's simple. It's simple to the point. It's so many questions in your head. How is that going to happen? Got to watch the video to find out. It's
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, intrigued. Not too often we're going to use the verb butters. So
isn't that the truth?
Yeah. So that's good. Last thing before we get started, did you want to tell your story now, Alex, or do you want to tease that for later?
We'll do that. We'll do that on the second one.
Okay.
We'll do for the second one.
Okay, sounds good. Alex has a story to tell. That's it.
Don't
Alex,
hype it up too much.
I love being with you guys, and I'm excited about this episode. So, you ready to get started here?
Let's go.
The nice thing would be you love being around me. That'd be the nice thing. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I concur.
Okay, great. Perfect.
I agree with Alex.
Okay, great. That's perfect. Yeah, go ahead.
I do have a question for Alex. How many cat t-shirts do you have? T-shirts
at my peak it was around 30. Mm-hmm. But now, I don't know, kind of called the herd, if you would. And so I don't know. I have like 4 or 5 in my closet, I think, maybe 6.
Yeah, that's
it's impressive.
And Alex, how many times have you answered how many cat shirts do you have in your lifetime?
A lot more than I do have cat shirts.
How many times have I asked?
I think this is your first, maybe second time you've asked.
Someone pulls up all of our past episodes, and it's been asked every time.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I asked her. But Ava is a cat person. She has an amazing cat.
Yeah, she says she won't watch a movie if a cat dies.
Yeah, not if the cat dies, she's not going to have any part of that movie at all.
Mm-hmm. Or dog or anything.
Emerson C. Mouse has his own Facebook page. He used to have his own MySpace page, too. But that's a whole other story. Maybe for a Cades and Friends episode.
Oh, Alex was going to ask about your MySpace.
Not tonight.
Not tonight.
Alex,
okay.
Not tonight. Yes, it's too long.
Wrong podcast.
Let's do it. Alex and Friends discussion of MySpace.
That's the spinoff we'll launch once we get really big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
where I'm the co-host every once in a while.
Yeah.
And then Alex just asks these off the wall questions. Yeah. If you think of me at the pilot of the ship is crazy, just wait till you see Alex at the piloting. Okay. Diane, are you ready to give the plot synopsis of
Where did I go?
I think you hit the camera and it bounced up or something at the desk.
Well, no, I haven't touched anything. What did you do? I can't move it.
You can't move it?
I can't move it. It's not movable.
Stand up, Diane.
It popped up is what it did.
Well, Cade, don't you have a...
Did it fall? Did it fall down or something?
No, it didn't. It's like clipped hard on here. Okay, that's about the best thing.
Cut to the interlude, or
I didn't. I literally didn't do anything. You looked out and it popped up, and it. Okay, we will go to our intermission and then play a musical interlude. Diane will fix her cameras, and I have it all written for the second movie, Diane. So I can't. So Diane will then give the plot synopsis for the film Her Smell, which everyone's excited for. Very intense plot. Right after this little interlude.
Hi. Okay, let's talk about Her Smell. This was written and directed by indie superstar, I guess, at least in his own mind, creator. Why did it again? There's Ollie. Hi, Ollie. Ollie loved this movie. Not really. Anyway, Alex Ross Perry, written and directed by Alex Ross Perry, and with the music by Keegan DeWitt, well-known indie musician. The movie itself is about Becky something, who's played by Elisabeth Moss. She's a talented but self-destructive musician who seems determined to alienate everyone around her, even at the cost of her own band's success. And I will tell you, this is not a likable character in any way, shape, or form, but I digress. Let's just talk about the movie. We don't need any more description other than that.
Okay. I just learned this when you said this about Kevin DeWitt. He did the music for Heart Beats Loud too. He did the music for both of these films.
Yes, he did. I was surprised you didn't mention that.
And that's funny. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Well, he did music for both of these films.
He's done like 90 movies. He's like one of the most well-known, unknown.
He's not huge. I mean, he's done a lot recently. Yeah, different. He's known for making a Kiss music within. Yeah, so
he won an Academy Award in 2013 for a documentary, and after that, he just really took off. He's like the number one guy for any indie film that goes to South by Southwest to do their music. But he did music for both of these, which is pretty amazing when you think about how completely different these movies are. Mm-hmm. That he was able to create, but both of them are about indie artists in a sense.
Yes.
So
yeah. Well, that's interesting because they're different styles and everything. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, very different styles. Mm-hmm. And there was something I wanted to point out in this movie. Let's see. Oh, I just have to talk about why it's titled Her Smell, because that in and of itself would keep people from wanting to see this movie. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, movie titles can, it's like a headline in a newspaper. Whether you're going to click on that and read it or not, it has a lot to do with the headline. And this is one of those, Her Smell. I don't know who they were trying to attract.
Yeah. Right? Because you wouldn't ever want to say out loud that your favorite film ever was Her Smell. You would sound like a psycho.
No kidding.
Even how good the movie was.
Anyway, so here's what I found out. Perry, that's Alex Ross Perry, Mr. Indie pop star himself, explains that Her Smell is a derivative of a punk rock albums that female bands like L7 put out. Two of L7's records are Smell the Magic and Hungry for Steak, said Perry, and I needed a title that exists in the continuum of gnarly women in rock making albums with gross and awesome names. I love it when men write movies about women. Anyway.
Yeah.
He got in some of the favorite tropes, though. On this
well, the problem is like he couldn't ever change the title because it's literally physically in the film. It opens and closes the shots of the movie like it's a neon sign. The movie starts with a neon sign and it says her smell in it, and then it pans down and then it ends with a pan up to this sign. So no matter how many marketing people said, could you please change this horrible title, it's literally, I mean, it's him locking it into the film.
That's
a very easy edit though. You just you don't.
No, I think he was intentional.
Below that, and you cut off the end right before it pans up. That's an easy fix.
I don't know if it's an easy fix because your first shot's not going to be too visually interesting.
The one thing in reading about this, because I try to not read reviews and all this other stuff before I watch a movie because I don't want to be influenced by people. But this one, I had to go back and read some stuff about this guy. I mean, just this film and Elisabeth Moss, and this is like her second film with him, and she's doing another one with him. And I just was trying to get the gist of who is this guy. And bottom line, what I found out is he's an indie creator that wants absolutely no one's input about what he's doing. So I can see why he would bake in the title of it like that. Because he doesn't want a distributor changing the title on him.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he was thinking that he was going to take this to, South by Southwest or wherever, and he was going to sell this for millions of dollars, and A24 is going to want it. All these people wanted it, and nobody wanted it. It finally got this.
Which they're A24 light. They're A24. Yeah. It's obvious that they want. Well, they wanted. I mean, the central performance is something. I mean, I there's no doubt that that exists, that sort of person exists, but in that sort of way, and whether or not that was something you wanted to see for 2 hours straight is a whole other question in these prolonged things. That's a whole other thing. And okay. What I did like, I liked the 5-act structure. I did like the idea of telling it in these sort of ways, but then the execution of that is long-winded and meandering, and it's after a while you're like, okay, get it. Is there more that you're trying to say? And oftentimes there was not a lot more that was being tried to say. And it was shot in the most disorienting way possible. I have to say, did you guys? I'm always interested to know this from people because you guys are, Diane in particular doesn't see some of these things. But I would love to know, when you looked at this movie, could you tell how it was shot? I don't know how, without saying anything about it, without being specific.
I noticed that they ripped off Ribbon, your film, because sometimes there would be a square. But that's the only thing I noticed. Whenever they went back in time, there were some square shots.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm trying to get to, this is shot on film. This was shot. It's obviously sort of shot on film.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you if something's shot on film or digital or whatever.
Yeah,
but I can tell you, whenever scenes within a movie feel claustrophobic and stifling. When an entire movie is like that, it's almost unbearable to sit through. I mean, I kept thinking, okay, there's going to be a flashback that goes back to the time that made her this way. There's going to be something in this that's going to come back. I'm not going to really sit through 90 minutes of her having a freaking nervous breakdown and meltdown. Mm-hmm. But I had to. But I never got the payoff of that. Why did she get to this point?
I guess those VHS things.
Rocker does.
The like VHS interludes, I guess, was supposed to be that.
That was just like one time in a room where they got their gold record. I mean, it was like, and I know that the new group of girls that don't look like they're completely strung out yet were introduced to say, this is what
they used to.
this is what a clean punk band's supposed to look like. See
Yeah.
how pretty they are, that kind of thing. And then this is she's what they are going to become, right? That's how
Yes.
I read that. But it's still because you didn't have that with her, you never cared about her. I was like, OD, bitch, man. You just keep the baby away from her and OD, get out, because you really, I mean, your daughter will be better off without you.
Okay. I guess we need to just say this before this. Did you like the movie quickly, one at a time? Diane, did you like the movie?
It had a chance with me for about the first 30 minutes, and then after that, it just went, no.
Okay.
No, I didn't like the movie.
Alex, did you like the movie?
No.
Okay.
No.
I thought it was I know I didn't at the end of the day like it, but I think it had some redeeming qualities to it. I think that there were some interesting. I think the performance is an really interesting performance, but it's overstuffed but it's like of nothing of substance, and
in my opinion, it is a 2-hour movie. It is a 2-hour movie, and there is so much skipping that I did not. I couldn't. I could not stay interested in it. It was too long, and there was so much skipping. What I liked about it, what I will say, I liked the music personally. I thought the music was overall good.
That opening song was the best part. I really did like that opening song a lot. I was like, I was really kind of on board with that opening song, and it
started very strong. It hooks you in. You start very strong, and it's good. It starts strong. Some of the acting was very good as well. Oh boy, my laptop just went funky for a second. I thought some of the acting was very well. I don't think anyone did bad at acting. There was no scenes that stuck out to me that was like, that's bad acting, so I'll give it that. But there were time jumps, and I didn't realize there were time jumps at times. And
there were
some of the songs
punctuated by the montage, the little they had these little flashback things where they shot on video, and then they do a time jump. And yes, I agree. I was always expecting a flashback. I was always expecting but it always was jumping forward in time, and it's like, well, I thought we were at the word, but no, we just keep doing. Here's another bad thing. It's like you got from the first one that she's at her low point. That was sort of that.
They didn't have to give us a whole hour.
Yes,
an hour and a half of that.
My biggest time jump problem was that it went from them at her house. She steps outside because I thought it was going to be a whole thing about how she's scared to go outside because she said that. And then she walked outside pretty easily. And then all of a sudden,
because of her daughter,
which I thought that was I saw that, but I thought it would have I wanted more. And then all of a sudden, here she is about to go perform again. And I was like, that was a massive jump.
Yeah.
Well, I must say, I kind of liked the ending, the last two sections. I did kind of like those ones. I think the ones that were over. So the first part, it starts out really strong with the musical part, and then when she goes out, and then you get the point, and then it's shot. That's the one to me that was shot in the most disorienting way, where it was almost exclusively close-ups, and so you never knew what was happening in the room. People were leaving rooms, and you just hear them, and then you expect them, they come back in, and you're like, there's no shot of them coming back in. You just hear people, and it's all shot in these weird close-ups that and I'm like, I have no idea spatially where this is at, who's in the scene, what's happening. Later on, we get the same location, and I felt like I had an understanding in those scenes where all these rooms were, these green rooms, in a way that in the first part of the movie, no idea where everything in space.
And the most of the movie was just shot in that one location.
Yeah, two sections.
Just the way he did it, yeah.
So yes, there was 5 sections. Yeah, go ahead.
There was a quote in here from the girl who played bass that said, you can't be fully acquainted with Becky something until you want her to F off.
Mm-hmm.
And here's my take on it. You can't get through the first act without wanting to turn Elisabeth Moss off.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just there because there was no give up on that. It was like, okay, let me show you what someone who is completely strung out or having a mental breakdown or something, what that's going to be like. And we're going to force you to live it real time. And I was like, oh, please don't make me do this. My God.
Yeah.
And then we go to the recording studio and she's still doing it. It's like, okay, guys. Now, I will tell you from what I read, Elisabeth Moss, they asked her if any of that was improv. And she said, no, it was scripted. And it was the hardest script she ever had to learn. I can see why, because most of it was word salad.
Yeah. So to me, if I would ever say, fix this, Cade, the very first thing on the cutting room floor.
You can't fix this movie.
But if they handed me this and the very first thing, more than the title even, which I hate the title as well. More than the title, it's cut out all of the religious, the spiritual stuff. That would be number one on my thing to do. More than the title, all of that out of the movie. And I think immediately this movie is 10 times better.
Well, if you were to ask me what I would do, because we always talk about what you would do to the movie.
Yes.
What I would do to the movie is not make it.
Yeah, that's not an option in these scenarios that we have.
To me, I hated the end of this
Diane,
movie.
You hit it again.
Oh, shoot. I gotta quit this
while she's fixing that, I'll say this. Virginia Madsen, who plays her mom, who I think she's a phenomenal actress. I love her. I didn't understand her point in the movie. Because as Ava mentions, and this is what made me think of it, the father got blamed for the bad childhood. She has an envelope, and that envelope never reappeared. Like it has no real importance,
right?
In the movie, like they made it a big thing about, he would have wanted you to see this or whatever, and gives it to her, and then it never shows back up. Like you never figure out what was in that, and the mom also, I don't think she had any big impacts. Virginia Madsen obviously did amazing. I love her. But
wasted.
It was wasted. And so just talking about things to cut out, I agree. The weird ritual stuff. They also, just later on, at the very end of the movie, they do that little seance and they set up like she's going to commit suicide or something. Yeah. And she didn't. I was actually like, oh my God, she's going to die. And then she didn't. And like,
I know.
Good.
It was a disappointment. I just hated it was a whole head fake. It was a head fake from the perspective that, she's going to do drugs. Well, she doesn't do drugs. So, she's going to kill herself. Oh, no, she didn't kill herself. Oh, well, let's all go out on stage and all love each other and be, we're punk rockers. We're so hardcore. We're bad girls, but we're going to all be Girl Scouts right now because we all love each other.
That was my other issue with it. No. That was my other big issue with it is that was a big time jump. The British actress, I don't know what her name is. I apologize, but she visits and they apologize and stuff. No, not Amber Heard.
The model.
She played Zelda.
Yeah, he's talking about the other band member, the one who played the bass. Yeah,
the two band members.
Cara,
there's a British one and the redheaded one.
Yeah,
Ashley Benson.
One of them gets stabbed, and they have a whole thing about how Gail. They talk about how, she probably still hates me or whatever. And it's like, no one hates you anymore. She's forgiven you. But it's been 4 years. And then there's she has 12 lawsuits against her. And then all of a sudden, smash cut, they're all about to perform together again. There was nothing about shown in the movie about what are they doing with those lawsuits. Howard is suddenly happy to see her again.
But that's not the point. That's all
musical. That's the point, Cade. Nobody can figure out what the point of this movie is.
The point is it's there's a lot of the music industry stuff that is just ancillary of that. Like this is recurring things within the music industry. People sue each other. People do all that. There
wasn't anything in that movie that wasn't already known about the music industry.
No, and that's the point is, there's nothing. I agree that there's nothing hugely monumental about but I think the point was trying to show this character's downfall and possible redemption, and it's grappling with the fact that perhaps that you want her to get out of it, but it's addiction, it's fame, it's the same stuff that we always sort of see. It's nothing new, but that is what they're trying to sort of deal with there. And I don't know. I don't think I hated the movie as much as you guys did, but I thought it was a good performance by by Elisabeth Moss. She gave it like 110%, and I thought, in all honesty, a lot of the her other bandmates were done really well. I thought they were really fascinating characters, but to me, the biggest sin of this movie is shooting on film and still making it look just absolutely disgusting looking. That is, like, you're spending all this money to shoot on film in the modern age, and you just light it under fluorescence, and it just looks all flat, and it's just grotesque looking. And it's like, what's even the point? What's even if you're not trying to make it look like I don't understand the point of shooting on a film if you're going to make it visually look that way. There's nothing. You're not using the beauty of film and the intricacies or whatever of that.
That, you know what? It would not have helped it.
Well, no. It probably wouldn't have helped it.
I'm sorry.
It wouldn't have helped it. No.
Nothing would help this movie. I mean, I'm sorry, but
I think a script doctor could have helped this movie.
The guy this Alex guy, he thought he had created a masterpiece. And then after it shows, nobody even calls him the next day, and they're like, I don't understand. Well, maybe sometimes you do need other people's opinion.
Yeah.
And yeah, I get it that, nobody wants to go with, funding from movie studios, et cetera. But if you want people to see your movie, maybe you need some input from people who distribute movies and don't just do the art thing all the time.
Or at least
this wasn't even art.
To look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other notes I had was that I had the volume at 100 and I still couldn't understand some things that were said.
I had closed captioning on.
I did closed captions. I eventually put on headphones. It was
mixed.
It was my laptop.
Okay. I'm glad that everyone else had this problem. It is mixed horribly. It is absolutely mixed, and it's a mixing problem because of like how uneven it is. Like, there are later scenes that are totally fine, but then there are scenes, like, particularly, there's just some scenes that are just, like, mumble mouth, like, I don't know what Elisabeth Moss is saying, and then it's, like, mixed so low, and, I had a note about that. I'm glad that other people, you guys agree.
That was something I wanted to mention as well, but I thought it was just my laptop, so... no, I plugged in headphones, and I had to plug in headphones. I shouldn't have had to plug in headphones.
I think this movie would have been better on a laptop than it was on my big screen TV. That's for sure.
I'll tell you, Diane, I was envious of, which we'll get to the second movie, excellent mixing on Hearts Beat Loud to the point that I was like, oh, I don't have a good enough sound system to hear some of this because it's obvious that they have it mixed to like a better surround the music sections. And it's like that shows. You could tell. It was like that was on my system in that case, not how the film was made.
Yeah, I put it on my surround sound. And it was good. It was really good.
But that's later. Sorry. Yes. Oh, sorry, Alex.
I didn't this one. This movie, no.
Mm-hmm. No, this movie was it was not good. I don't know. I wish someone would have died in that movie. It would have, the kid should have died or something. I don't know. Like, I wanted something to happen.
No.
I never felt satisfied during that movie. And that's a problem.
Yeah.
Not even like
I think it could have been fixed.
Upset.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything that could make that movie, enjoyable.
I think you cut out a lot of you cut out a lot of things. And, well, like there's a few characters that I'm like, I don't understand the point. Like Dan Stevens, that's an odd her boyfriend, her ex or whatever. I don't get why you use Dan Stevens in that role.
Well, they had to bring the girl in. That's his only job, is to bring in the baby.
Yeah.
His whole Dirty Dan or whatever, like that was referenced a lot, and
yeah, that was fascinating. Like
it's almost like there was another movie that was made, and maybe
a sequel
that movie
to that
would have, kind of helped introduce Dan, the DJ.
Yeah,
that's what he was. He was one of those, big time, Ryan Seacrest kind of guys. But you didn't know that because he didn't really tell you about that part. You didn't know anything about the girl's dad other than this envelope thing. It's like, what is it?
I want a prequel.
Yeah. So they kind of left out all that. Instead, they gave us 45 minutes of her having a nervous breakdown.
Yeah. So, sorry, which was your favorite section of it? Which one was your favorite?
None.
If you had to pick, which one?
A favorite? None.
Of any of those? Any of those that you didn't have? You didn't. What was your least favorite?
0.
What was your least favorite then?
All of it.
Diane, you could be. You had to have found some sort of redeeming quality of this.
No.
Okay.
The love between Dan and the daughter. I mean, he wanted to protect her. I mean, he was trying to protect her. Yeah, her baby daddy.
Well,
yeah. That was the only good thing.
He let a drugged out woman hold the baby and run away with the baby.
So the problem is that you have. I'll walk through the issue. So the first there's 5 acts. The first 3 acts, she's at the same.
To redo it, right? I mean, as a filmmaker, we're going to hear how you would have filmed it differently, right?
No, not filmed it. How it would have been scripted sort of differently. So you have the first 3 acts. So this is a 5-act structure. The first 3 acts, she is exactly the same note throughout it. That is a problem. Whereas in the 4th,
you have no background. You have nothing.
You have no background, and
you don't know who she is.
Yes,
nothing.
And so those should have been consolidated in some sort of way. Either only have 2 of those, or only 1 of those. And then the problem is, so then the 4th act is the first time you see a dramatic change in her character, and that is I found to be very interesting. It's shot different. It is a shift that is a lot more low key, and that I found that to be interesting. But it was too late in the film for it to do any sort of thing for it. And then the last act, though it has a lot of problems in it, she's playing it differently there too. She's someone who is feeling like she's slipping into these old vices and that she's trying to move against it. And that was also incredibly fascinating. The problem is, of course, you're right, Diane, that there isn't a flashback sequence, and there should be. There should be a opener. That first act opener should be shorter. It should be her opening. There's some sort of problem there. Cut the Zelda character out. She does the exact same thing as the other rockers there. Have that scene completely have that whole part cut out and everything, and just have her have this descent and have it be quick, and that's your opener. And then you have a flashback sequence of whenever they were younger and doing all that, and you get to do all that and at the peak and everything and all that stuff. And then you have the sequence of where she's with this new band, and it's sort of paralleled in some sort of way. Either that's at the opener of their show or at the whatever, at the session, whatever. Figure out a way to consolidate those two. Still make it a little bit snappier. Then that's the fall of her. You have 4th and 5th act. Consolidate that still a little bit because everything's too long-winded and there's no editor telling him that he needs to cut a lot of this stuff out because he's just hitting the same things. Make that tighter, and there you have a much 10 times, 50 times better movie. And it goes in a full story. I think there's a way to tell that, but you're right, Diane. it's a problem of someone who's not a collaborator, who is not working with other people well. It's very obvious that that's the case. But there's ways to fix it. There's ways to fix anything.
Yeah, maybe, but you're not going to get. So, are you going to recommend people go watch this movie with your recommendation of how it could change, and maybe they'll enjoy it, because they're not going to.
No, we'll get to recommendations in a bit, but that was I think me personally as a filmmaker,
they should have called you.
No, that's not what I'm saying, Diane. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying.
I'm saying that. I'm saying they should have called you.
You can learn a lot from a movie that makes 17 bad choices, and I think that there's a lot that can be evaluated from that, and something that I do think has a lot of redeeming qualities. It does, but the problem is it's about
Amy Winehouse documentary was better. If you want to see a movie about a punk rock female artist,
Yeah.
So what you're saying is, film students should watch this film to critique it.
Sure.
And make it better.
Sure, I guess.
Yeah.
The one good line I thought is, "Why should I explain myself to you when you're only going to remember your version?" I thought that was a good little line in a movie where not a lot of really great lines, but that was a kind of a good little argument line from the drummer. I thought Cara Delevingne was odd. I love her in roles and stuff, and it's interesting that she would take on, about this point, being very famous, take on the role of a drummer, the second drummer in this movie of a different band. So that was fascinating. The only other, but she was good in it. Only other note I had is, I don't know why all those people joined on stage at the end. That should have been a moment for just that band reunion. That was odd.
It had to end on the High School Musical night.
I don't know. I guess we were all there and they're like, bring them all out. Anyone want to touch the Amber Heard of it all, or are we just going to move on from that?
I think we just move on from that.
Okay.
I liked her costume.
Yeah, everyone has good costumes, yeah.
I liked her outfit, her hat, and everything.
Her hat. Yeah. Only last positive I had was just me leaving it on and not knowing it was going to do that. But I don't know if you guys stayed around for it, but the end credits were actually really cool. They were because it seemed like normal credits, and then all of a sudden they started doing like these cast lists, and they did all of these like reproductions of what these albums and cassettes would have looked like, and it was like, and it like used old photos, and it was like looked like it was of that era, and it was actually really cool. And I was like, whoever they did to design these in credits, like I kind of wish that was incorporated more.
That had been the opening credits.
Yeah, opening credits.
And then we would be better informed.
Yes.
When we got into the movie, yeah.
Because like they had old, they did like old album sleeves and old. It was cool. It was really, really, really well made. Yeah, and it like really said it, like it was like, oh, that's very interesting and very well done. Whoever crafted all of that stuff.
Right. I have it pulled up right now, and I see what you mean. That's kind of cool. It's got records and CDs and
yeah. And that was
not
just,
all of them are great, but
yeah,
that would have been good at the opening, right?
Yeah. Well, okay. This is where we give our recommendations and whatever we call it. We ask, would you recommend, and what would you rate it? Diane, would you recommend this movie, and what would you rate it?
Would I recommend this movie? Seriously? You're asking me that? No. Would not recommend this movie. And I know I'm supposed to stick with drinks, but it really needs a syringe. Someone needed to load up the syringe in the first 5 minutes.
Okay, so you're saying no, you would not recommend this movie.
Would not recommend this movie, and my rating is a syringe.
Mm-hmm. Would you care to elaborate on why you would not recommend this movie?
Well, First off,
Uh,
there's nothing redeeming about it. Number
uh-huh.
one, if you want to watch a movie about, gnarly punk rocker girls, watch the Amy Winehouse documentary. I mean, I'm really, and I know you guys can't appreciate this, or maybe you're just tired of me whining about it, but I'm really tired of men writing roles about women, and not only do you get to have them include their own little fantasy with the girl on girl action, but they just don't quite get the complexity of it. You know what I mean? So he did great with Woman in Crisis. Yay.
Yeah. No, I mean, there was, yeah. Okay. Alex, would you recommend this movie, and what would you rate it?
No, I would not. I'm looking for an emoji so I can have a fun little thing to pop up. And I think the one I'm going to go with is can you put the emoji of like the man running away?
I was hoping you would do a spoon to go with my syringe. See a spoon? Yeah.
Yeah.
See, what I'm mad about myself is I remember I thought of two separate emojis that I wanted to give each film, and my dumb self said, I'll remember that, and I cannot remember what I wanted to give them. So let's just give it the man running away, and I would rate it 3 out of 10 if I gave it a number. No, 2 out of 10.
2, yeah.
Man running away.
Yeah, 2. Yeah, there we go. Is there one with like there's dust behind him? Can you put a cloud behind him?
Oh sure, Alex. Let me.
Yeah. Put that cloud behind him so it looks like there's dust running, because this is not a good movie. You need to run away from this movie.
Keep vamping as I get you this dash.
Okay. Yeah, it's
very important.
Ava said, like we've said, watch this movie if you want to see what not to do with the film. Some of the acting is pretty good. There it is. That's what we want to see. But honestly, overall, someone needed to die. Something needed to happen. I don't know. I don't care. But something needed to happen to. Why did she get clean? She went to the hospital. She was only clean for 1 year, and she was the band had been broken up for 4 years. So where's the other 3 years? She tried to stab someone, and 3 years later, it's ridiculous. Stay away.
I would not recommend the movie. There, everyone's happy. I think that it's
$2.99 on this.
$2.99. I think that there are some redeeming things about it, some things that are interesting, and but it does not equal the sum of its parts. It is overlong, and it's not too original in what it's saying. I agree. There's better things that have explored fame and the fall from stardom and drugs, and I mean everything has been explored better than this movie does.
Yeah. I never got that they were ever famous or were stars to begin with. So
well, they're stars within that movement. I mean, that was a movement in time with the Riot Girls scene, like that was a thing that existed, and there were people who were big within that stuff. But yeah, if you like that era, perhaps, or that scene, maybe you would like this. I think it's worth. I mean, I'm not angry that I saw it.
Listen to the
at the end of the day,
not the movie.
Yeah, listen to the soundtrack. I agree.
I was not angry that I saw it, but as other things that we've had, that's bad. It's not going to end up being in my bottom 3, but it's certainly I would not recommend to use your time to do it, though.
I did not have a streaming service that this came free on, so I was forced to spend $2.99.
I would not buy it. No, absolutely not.
No, don't spend money.
Yeah.
I could have bought the standard definition, but I decided to pay an extra $1 and watch it in HD, and that's what I do in life right now.
Alex, that's sad. I gave it a meh. It was meh. Nothing. It was yeah. At the end of the day, it was meh. Well, that is Her Smell. Us talking about that. If you would have named it different, what would you have named it, Diane?
Don't watch this movie.
You called it Don't Watch This Movie? Ava with the nose emoji. Ava with the nose emoji. The good old nose emoji.
Ooh, I changed mine to Ava. I like that. I didn't pick out an emoji ahead of time, and I wish I had it because I could have gone with the nose.
Mm-hmm. You name it the name of the band, something she or
something she. Yeah, that's the name. Yeah.
Something she would have been better.
Yeah. You're right. You're right, Alex.
Name of the club, maybe you could have named it the name of the club.
Well,
whatever that club was called.
Is that not what Her Smell was called? Like that's the way I understood it. Is that the club was called Her Smell because they had a physical neon sign there. That would
make sense, but
and that's in my head why I thought, but still he had to choose that name. Like it wasn't like he was forced to. Well, this is what the club's called. I mean, he chose that at the end of the day. But it did in my head. That's what the club was titled, but I could be wrong. That could just me reading into the film. Okay, next we're going to take a brief intermission. Be sure to grab some popcorn at the concession stand, and we'll be back to talk about Hearts Beat Loud, also from 2018, same year, right? And we'll talk about that right after this intermission.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's intermission time. All these delicious treats are waiting for you at the refreshment stand. Delicious fresh popcorn, ice-cold cola, and candy you know and love. They're all ready for you now, so you won't have to miss any of the feature. Come and get them.
And now, on with the show.
Okay, I'm going to give the plot synopsis of the film Hearts Beat Loud. It's Nick Offerman plays Frank, a single dad and record shop owner in the Brooklyn neighborhood of Red Hook. His teenage daughter Sam, played by Kiersey Clemons, just graduated high school and is about to leave to go to pre-med on the West Coast. Frank has always dreamed of being in a band with his daughter ever since his wife died and his music dreams ended. One night in a jam session, Sam and Frank produce a song that Sam wrote titled Hearts Beat Loud. Frank uploads the song to Spotify and it becomes a viral hit. Throughout the movie, Frank is dealing with the closure of his record shop, taking care of his aging mother, and coming to terms with his daughter growing up and moving away. There's also a great supporting cast. It includes Blythe Danner, who plays Frank's aging mother, who doesn't want to move out of her rent-controlled apartment, Toni Collette, who is Frank's landlord and sort of romantic interest, and lastly, Ted Danson as the neighborhood bartender who almost had a stage acting career and likes talking about how he went to Woodstock. Anyways, this is Hearts Beat Loud. What did you guys think about this movie?
I thought it was good.
Okay.
I'm on the fence of like okay to good. I think it's just at that good. Definitely better compared to the other movie. But I definitely had some problems with it. There were some, I don't know if they were loose ends, but there were just some jumps that were made and stuff that I didn't like how they finalized some things. But overall, I thought it was good. The music was good. A fun fact, in the last movie, it got to certain points where I, during some songs that I skipped ahead 10 seconds a couple times just so I would have to stop. And I didn't do that at all during this movie. So it was
you did
good.
that for the last movie. Okay.
I would say don't spend $2.99 on it, but $1.99 would be acceptable.
Okay, Diane, did you like this movie?
I definitely like this movie better than the other one. These two movies were like at opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
I mean, one is like you're gonna walk out of a movie you're gonna walk out of Her Smells feeling really like shitty about the music industry. people in general, especially women. You're going to hate them all. But then you watch this movie and you're like, okay, that felt really, 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 really good. Maybe too good. Maybe a little too much cotton candy with this. But you know what? I still want Nick Offerman and his wife to be my next door neighbor.
Yeah.
Because it could not get better to have those guys as your neighbors.
Absolutely. I really like this movie. I one thing right here, obviously shot on digital. It is 10 times better looking than the film that was shot on film, and that
I don't know what that means. But if a movie is shot on film, is it supposed to look better than digital?
Well, if you're going to spend the money to buy film in the modern age, you should make it look good and everything, and light it in a way that makes it look, or at least it doesn't have to look visually beautiful or whatever. There's ways of Fight Club is made to look grimy and gross, and it's one of the most beautiful films ever, visually speaking. So anyway, there's a way to do that. Is what I'm saying. It is shot well in fluorescence in a lot of respects, but this one, typically speaking, yes, you would shoot on a film, and if you do it right, it's going to look absolutely beautiful. 9 times out of 10. But in this case, it sort of shows that it doesn't have to be. You can shoot on digital. I'm not someone who says, hey, this has to be shot on films, everything. This is an excellent example of how you could color grade a digital film, and it looks so vibrant and poppy, and it's so popish and vivid, and it's I want more films that it's just a normal, these are people in normal neighborhoods, and it looks so vibrant looking, and it's fascinating because each of this guy's films who directed this, Brett Haley, they look visually different from each other, and I kind of want to explore some more of his filmography, because I watched The Hero of his, which was Sam Elliott, and he obviously writes these characters, and I've heard him talk about this, to the actor. He has an actor in mind, and he pulls these great performances out and writes to these actors this is written for Ted Danson because he's worked with Blythe Danner before and all of these people. This is I would imagine written for Nick Offerman too, because it plays so heavily to his strengths. And I think more and more I'm moved by his works about how he really takes these people who are really great character actors and gives them fun little performances and everything to work with. So from that level, I really, really like and I want to see more of his work. And I do think that he will eventually win an Academy Award at some point because of his work and how different his films are. Eventually it's going to hit, and eventually it's going to be the perfect combination of actor and script writing, and he's going to hone his craft continually, and I think it's eventually going to happen, because it's too good of a he's got some talent there that I'm fascinated to see go forward.
He hasn't had anything in a couple of years, though. It doesn't look like.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, what he's doing with that. Those two I've been really impressed by. I know there's another one I want to see that's kind of a ensemble piece that I'll probably add in to our list. But no, there's a lot of stuff I liked about it. I had a note of I've been in 20 record shops that look exactly like this. Nothing different. They at a certain point that is a rubric for how those record shops look. Did
you see where I shared the Facebook page so you could like that one?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I have not been in this particular record shop, but I have been in this part of Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Which is a really cool kind of place. It's for, Brooklyn is like that though. It's neighborhoodish, and it's a neighborhood kind of place. It has a neighborhood bar, that kind of deal.
Well, the trains don't go out to Red Hook. That was a joke.
Yeah, trains. Depends on what train you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ava said, "Can I say Toni Collette, in addition to being a superb actress, does the best American accent in the business?"
She does. I've been on a Toni Collette binge lately, Ava. I've watched two. I'm on my third, I guess. Short series, and this one she actually got nominated for an Emmy, and she plays an American in every one of them, and it's amazing. She does a wonderful job.
I never would have thought she was British.
I know most people don't.
I love she's Australian. Yeah, that's about she's Australian. Yeah. There was a Hulu show, I think, that it was on Hulu, or maybe it was HBO. That was a limited series that I absolutely loved with her, and I'll have to look it up. But she's just amazing.
I just watched Unbelievable.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
It was on Netflix. She was so good in it.
That's the one it was. I love that.
She was so good. And then Pieces of Her, she was even better in. And then now I'm watching the one on HBO Max about the Michael, the guy's wife fell down the stairs and died.
Yeah.
So that one, she plays the wife, and I
need to watch that.
At least there's a lot of flashbacks that she's in this one, so it's really good. It's
what other movie did you? What other movie did you like her in?
What? I loved her in Unbelievable.
What other movie did you?
It was a Netflix series.
That Diane said. I'm sorry, that Diane said. She said Hearts Beat Loud, and what else?
Pieces of Her.
Pieces. Okay. I didn't know if another one of those was another Brett Haley or something, but
no.
I mean, one of her more recent things, and what a lot of I absolutely love is obviously, as people say, it's one of her best performances. Hereditary. It's a horror film.
Yeah.
Oh, she's so great in that. She's so great in that. There's that I just constantly that dining room scene lives in my head at all times.
That's next on my list to watch.
Oh well, I'm excited for Diane to watch Hereditary. That's fun. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, and then Alex, you have to see her in The Way Back. Way Back is the name of it. You and Alex, I want you to watch it more than anyone else in the world. I want you to watch The Way Back. Please tell me you will. The Way Back.
Way back. The Way Back.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
it has Steve Carell in it. That's fun.
Oh yeah, it has everybody you would want to watch in a movie in it.
Oh, Jim Ross.
Yeah. Sam Rockwell.
We were supposed to watch that on our show, but Diane's already seen it. So
I'd already seen it, but I would watch it again. I think I've seen it twice already.
I just have weird notes about this one. I like how like the success isn't huge like that. It's so sort of like it's so perfectly moderate like in our modern age. Like I really did like. In a different movie that would have been shown in like everyone knows them on the street and everything, and they opened it and it was a viral hit and everything. But it's done in such a way that's like the only real thing that's ever really shown to be actually a success is that he just happens to be at a bakery where it's playing on the speakers and he's like, whoa. And that was so genuine. I loved how happy he was. And it was essentially the success was that it was like 15 down on a playlist on Spotify. That's what the big success was. That's shown.
An indie
playlist on Spotify, which I just love that. Like that's realistic. It wasn't like their runaway success. Like there was a club that they wanted to play there in New York. Like it was very nice.
It did have the one guy. It had two things. There was an email. I think, I don't know if he has sent it or received it, but an email saying, "We want you." And there was also that guy who showed up to the store. But, yes. And then there was the person who showed up to the store. That's right. But you're right. It wasn't, only certain people would have like, really known. And so, he makes a comment that like, he says 50,000 people will listen to it. And, I mean, I think it's like, however many people listen to the indie playlist and then make it 15 songs down. But that is relative success being, a top-ish song on Spotify.
Yeah, and it's nice, and I think like so to compare it again to The Hero, because that's I really did like that movie. There are some problems, and we'll get into that about them, but it's about Sam Elliott. He's playing a Sam Elliott type character, someone who is like his film career is in the past, sort of, and he's and people know him from these Western films, but he's not getting the movie roles anymore, and he's mostly does voiceover work, and so like there's a whole extended thing about how he's doing this voiceover for like barbecue chicken. And he's there and he's like repeating this line over and over again. They're like, okay, 2 more time. And it's just this great slice of life of him. And the movie is about him trying to find work in the modern age and trying to reconnect with his estranged daughter. And the big crux is that he gets invited to this Western film festival that's just a little regional film festival where he's getting a Lifetime Achievement Award. And it's very low stakes and very but it's real in a way that like and it's just and Nick Offerman's in that movie too. He plays his drug dealer, and it's just very sort of low stakes, and I really I enjoy how he tells these stories in a very sort of human way, and like it doesn't get like we have to make it larger than life like a lot of Hollywood films do. And so I really, really did like that aspect of it, and I wanted to call that out.
It's too bad we didn't watch Heroes with this one. That way it would be cool to compare the two. I've not seen Heroes. I've heard, though, that Sam Elliott was amazing in it. Wasn't he nominated for...
He was not. He should have been. Well, he's probably nominated for... He wasn't for an Academy Award, no. He should have been. He should have. It was an amazing performance.
First off, I have to spoiler alert. I love the fact that she decides to become a doctor instead of a musician. And I love the fact that it's her dad that wants her to be a musician instead of a doctor. That's really a little turnaround, would you say?
Yes.
I have a feeling when you look at people like Blythe Danner and Ted Danson, I almost said Dead Danson. Anyway, when you look at people like that take these little tiny roles in films, it's because they love the filmmaker.
Yeah.
They want to do that. They're not going to spend more than a couple of days, but it's still, they do it because they love the filmmaker and they love the fact that they get to be in these movies. But I love their roles for what they did. There weren't big roles. And some of the reviewers that I read later thought they were wasted. But the fact that Nick's character, Frank, is in a situation that a lot of people can relate to.
Yeah. They
have their child going to college, so they're becoming an empty nester, but they're going to take and now care for their parent. There's no option for Frank or the dad, Nick's guy, to become a musician at this point in his life. There's no option for him for that. He's just got this one summer to where he can have this time with his daughter to be what he always wanted to be. But he knows that it's not going to last because he's at a point in his life where he's finished raising his child. Now he has to care for his
And that's such rich internal things.
So true.
And it's realistic and like in that same thing again, not to harp on The Hero, but he's able to pull these things out of like these human stories, and like that's so rich, and like you don't like if you compare that to like a Her Smell or something, that it's not there. Like it lets you in on it, and I really feel his character a lot. But go ahead, Alex. Were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I was just gonna say. So I loved the character moments, and I personally kind of wanted, because at the end of the movie, I thought they were kind of, so I read like what the movie was about before I watched it, and it was like, he has a summer or whatever, like before she goes off. And so going into the movie, I thought that they were going to go viral and like go on a tour or release something, and I liked that it didn't happen. Yes. I agree with what you said earlier, Cade. However, like
I thought it was going to do that too. Whenever it was explained.
Yeah, at the end of the film is like 1 week before she goes off to college, and they did one concert and had like one viral song, and it's like the song went viral 2 weeks ago, maybe at most. And so
it could have been a few months,
I
or
wish,
2 months at maybe the longest. I would say if it was at the beginning of summer.
yeah,
And then
but I didn't feel that passage of time, and I wanted them to like release more. And I personally wanted them to kind of go with the theme of like, you're never too old to kind of get this dream, which he kind of accomplished. He had that concert with his daughter, and she's still making music, and he's still helping her make music. So he is still kind of doing it at the end of the movie. But I wanted just a little bit more. You know, I'm glad she stayed in school and is continuing to like do school. But like, I don't know. I wish they would have done like a bigger concert or released that album, or like I wish he would have had like some bigger success. But I also really enjoyed the fact that he is now working at this bar that he so frequented. And so I can't complain about it, but I also just, I don't know. I wish that he would have had a little bit more success. That's what I wanted. I wanted him to have a little more success.
I mean, I think that the idea was that to have sort of a bittersweet ending. I thought, and a realistic sort of, like in a movie, like it would have, I think, taken you out a little bit if it would have everything worked out in some sort of way. I thought that it, you sort of end in a thing that's like he's happy that he had this moment with his daughter and sort of helped her experience something new and something that like, I think they're all happy that the experience happened to them, and like she was able to have this last summer where it was a bonding thing for the two of them, and where it wouldn't have, it was a way that he could communicate with her, and like that's how he could talk to her about love and talk to her about a lot of just different things. Like it was where they were able to sort of, I think, come to terms with the death of the mother. Like there was a lot of stuff there that was like, and how the transition of time, everything must go, all that sort of stuff. I don't know. I found it to be very.
But I wanted more of that. I wish there would have been like some more. So like maybe they went to another concert or he would have kept his business open. I also wanted the girlfriend to stay in the picture, but it just kind of. And I mean, I do know that does happen for a lot of couples.
The point is that everything ends. Like that's the whole point. The whole thematic point of the movie is that everything has a beginning and an end, and that you should sort of be happy that it happened, and not so dwell on the fact. Like ending's not necessarily a negative thing. It's just, but these experiences are something that's like that's the whole point of like Ted Danson talking about his stage career. Like he used to have like this thing, and I don't know. I found that all to be very very moving and true to life.
Well, and she did when she had her heart-to-heart talking with her dad about the fact that she was going to go to college. Yeah. And become a doctor. That, as she pointed out to him, he had 13 years in a band with her mom.
Yeah.
I mean, that was his experience, and that was his dream. It wasn't her dream, her daughter's dream.
Yeah.
Her dream was to become a doctor. And I think what you said, Alex, is so true in that through music, it gave him an opportunity to talk about relationships and love and letting go and acceptance and all of that. Oh, is that Cade?
Yeah.
Sorry. That was you, Alex. But he was able to do that through music. Mm-hmm. When, dads and daughters, they don't really talk like that.
Yeah, no.
You just don't have those conversations with your
dad. That was one of those things that reminded me of was that SNL sketch where they were like, it was a father and son podcast. I don't know if you ever saw that one with David Harbour. And they're like, father and sons have a hard time sort of talking about their emotions. So here's the father and son podcasting. And so they're able to like talk in this sort of structured setting about this sort of stuff. And like, I think that was kind of a funny thing of like, they never had that because it's their father and daughter. Like he doesn't. That's just a tough sort of relationship like that, and especially when the mother's lost in this situation. And it was through
they had their jam sessions,
and so it was through these jam sessions.
That was their jam sessions. Yeah.
They had both wrote poetry on their own side. Like, and I think that was a surprise for her that her father wrote poetry, and of course that's essentially what she was writing too. Like they learned of how much they had in common with each other. Like it was. I thought it was a simple, beautiful way of sort of telling that story. And also the music was great. I really, really did like the music that they wrote.
Very good.
Again, same guy. And I will tell you, this director, Brett Haley, he has used Keegan DeWitt in all of his movies.
Yeah.
Even the one that you liked, Hero.
And Hero has some sort of music. It's fascinating because like art is part of his movies too. There's like stand-up comedies part of the Hero, and there's just a lot of and then visually the Hero is very blue, has a blue palette, and so like visually he does different things, and I find that all very fascinating. And this one it's a very rich color palette, and I really did like that. The another note I had is I love that there was in a studio film. They would have all been using they would have gotten sponsorships for these equipment, and everything would have been one brand and everything. But it's obvious when they're recording, everything's a different brand. Like they have all
pieced together.
Yeah, it's all pieced together.
Real life.
Like real life. And I found that to be fascinating. Of like they have a Rode mic and Audio Technica headphones, which is what I have. And then there was like a Shure headphones. Like I'm like one person was wearing a different brand of headphones than the other one, and it was all this like it was yeah. So from a technical perspective, I'm like I really found that very fascinating. Is that it's how real life would be. They'd piece it together, but in typical fashion, it would be like, Shure's our sponsor. Shure's going to be all of our microphones and our headphones and everything. And we're going to be sure to have that faced out, and it's going to be clear that that's the case. But no.
Something else I really liked, and it's you mentioned the bar, or I think Cade, and it reminded me. The quote that he said is that, I don't remember exactly what he said, but you might have written it down. You don't always do what you love, but you have to love what you do, or something similar to that.
Yeah. Yes.
I thought that was a really good quote.
I thought Ted Danson was great in this. Like I really, really, really liked his scenes, and I thought he was.
Oh yeah.
He was
a great character.
Yeah. I want to see him do more supporting roles. I think that he's typically leading man, like that's what, and I think, but this is like a character, like he's typically the straight man too. And like, he's kind of a quirky character in this. And I thought he did an excellent role. And I thought, I don't think he was underutilized. A character like that, you want to leave the audience being like they want more, not like, oh, here comes this side character again because he's a famous person and they have to shoehorn him in all sorts of ways. But he was in it enough, and each time it was effective, and each time he was endearing and funny, and thought it was kind of a different character than Ted Danson typically plays, and it aside from being a bartender.
It was a bartender.
Yeah.
There was two different references to Cheers in it too. That was good. He had the best line. This is not a professional relationship, Frank. I'm your friend.
Yes.
But he wouldn't give him that.
And that was so heartwarming, and that was such a nice line.
And I love how this movie ended. Spoiler alert! On a positive note for both characters. For both Frank and his daughter. She's in California, but she's some kind of a music night or something where she's about to perform a song that her and her dad wrote. And she says that.
And yes, and the fact that she's not, she's like, previously it starts with like, well, I'm not going to be in a band with my dad, and it shows a lot of growth that she's like, I wrote this with my dad, admitting to that, and not even like that's a point of pride, she's, and that's the end of the movie. Spoiler alert, that's the last scene of the movie. But
and other spoiler alert is Toni Collette shows up at the bar.
Yes.
Well, where, Frank's working now. And I kind of love that. I like that relationship. Let me put it this way. It gives you that there's hope for the relationship now because it has nothing to do with landlord, leasing, renting space, business partnership. It's just the two of them as friends.
Absolutely.
So it has hope.
one thing I will say, just as a bit of a criticism, Jeff Tweedy shows up for like 5 seconds. I had no idea who he was until, but like they made it such a oh my god, like this guy is important, and so I had to figure out who that was, and luckily he's on, pretty clear, but I wish that would have had, like, I don't know, more significance, like maybe he was always listening, or he had a poster of him up or something somewhere, just to kind of give that a little more significance. And also, this might just me be missing the punch, but Frank's mother, played by Blythe, great actress, but I didn't
Should have been a few more
understand
scenes with Blythe Danner.
Yes,
that had been set up as like a huge deal, like at the very beginning of the movie, and then it like that. There should have been something more there. I agree.
Yeah,
she
it's
gets
like
bailed
some of
out
her
by
scenes.
Yeah.
It's I definitely felt like there was something, because like they have, it's like, because I thought maybe they were going to allude to her having dementia or something, and then every scene you see with her, she seems relatively competent and sane. Just maybe a little grandma crazy, but overall fine.
You'd be amazed at how well a dementia person can sound competent when you ask them the right questions.
I guess,
Like he said,
that's true.
this lady's going to be here to help you with dinner. And she goes, well, she can be my sous chef. Well, I guarantee you she cannot cook anymore. But she can say, I can. You know what I mean? Yeah, I got that part, probably because I have more experience.
But I do think
with dementia. But
it just needed
dementia shoplift.
Yes. I think
Let her out on her own.
that was like, it just needed one more big scene. Like it just needed one more big. Well, the main one, did I miss something of, like, she was arrested and then they were bailing her
Toni
out?
bailed her out. Yeah.
And then
that was the second time.
Yes.
Yeah, the first time they had called him.
But what was the through line with that? Like, was there a scene after? I don't remember a scene.
All he gets a phone call from an unknown number, and then smash cut. He's at the jail, and
They're like, here's your stuff. And she's like, I have to hand it to her. She's the one that bailed it out. And then I don't remember what happened after that. Was there a scene?
She just left, and then that was the end.
Like, what was the point of that
Toni
scene?
leaves. I don't know.
Well, it's a progression from in the first scene you see Blythe Danner in, right?
Yes.
They've called him. And
Great
she's
setup.
sitting in a
Great
store
setup. Yes.
Because she attempted to steal something.
Absolutely.
In the scene where they bail her out of jail, she has stolen something, gotten caught.
Yes.
Has been arrested. You didn't see that part. You just saw them bailing her out.
Yes.
Because this time she actually was, arrested.
But where was that conversation after that? Like that, you have a whole conversation in the first part of when she's sitting there, and there's it's perfect, and she's like, she's like, I'm not leaving this rent controlled apartment. Like, it's all being set up and all that. Yeah. And that's missing the big scene, like where Blythe Danner's big scene, and they're sort of where, I don't know, where they're coming to terms with that. It feels
well, and I think that's where he's packing her stuff. He's in her apartment. Maybe it's implied, but he's packing her stuff. She's moving in with him.
Yeah, that's true.
And he's telling her, so-and-so's going to be here to help you with dinner. He's kind of laying out for her, this is what your day's going to be like. And by the way, you're not going to be alone because we know we can't trust you now. You've been arrested. And I'm packing your stuff because you're moving with me. Now, you're not, he's not saying that.
Yes.
Right? You're just,
but that's later.
You're getting the implication. No, that's the progression of the scene.
Yes.
I guess.
Well, I mean,
he's gone from, she's had this incident.
Mm-hmm.
She had no idea she was doing it. The next time, it's gotten worse. She had been arrested. The third scene is, we've accepted the fact that she can no longer be alone, and she's going to have to move in with us.
And I agree. I understand the progression of that. I just, it feels like that there is a missing scene with Blythe Danner before that scene that you're talking about. Like so it's the night that he goes, because she's out there with her girlfriend. Like, we cut to that, and we get that whole exploration of and then she returns to the apartment, and then he's like, you missed a whole lot this evening. And it's like, well, I guess we did too from an audience perspective, because I didn't see anything outside of Toni Collette bailing her out. And so
I guess I really want to show Blythe Danner actually being arrested the second time.
Not being arrested in the car ride not the car. I don't know what they're having there, but maybe a car. I don't know, something, whatever happened immediately after she's bailed out. That's what I was missing.
Yeah, like as if there would be a conversation between her and Nick. That would be him saying, "Okay, you can't be alone. You're moving in with me now," and that whole discussion. But that's not a single conversation. That's a whole movie by itself.
No, yeah.
But you're right. For somebody who doesn't know that progression or isn't aware that, once your child goes, you've got to take care of your adult parents. I just mean something. You always twist it in some sort of way. You want to see the conversation that they have between her and Frank and Blythe, Danner's character, where he tells her, okay,
where we visually get
you cannot be alone.
No, not necessarily. Where he realizes that this has gone too far, and you visually get Blythe Danner, who's one of our great actresses, at the furthest she's at, and it's just like a minute long of just this ramifications of him having to take her home, and him being like, okay, this has gone too far. And it's just a little bit like, I'm having to, how does this mean with my life and everything and all that. And I just a bit.
It could have been as easy as a phone call where he's like talking about, how she's going to be ending the rent or ending payments on like once the daughter moves into college. So like he could have been like, it's September 1st. She's no longer going to be occupied there. And then that's it. There's like, it's at least something. But I agree with Cade. Like there needed to be something more that shows a more obvious progression, and not just like there's something missing.
Oh yeah, I knew the minute that she got thrown in jail. She was giving up her apartment and she was moving in with him, because what choice does he have?
Yeah.
It's just, we're not talking about someone who's young and can rehabilitate themselves. Yeah. This is someone who is not going to get better. They're only going to get worse. Mm-hmm. So unless you want to go back to the jail 10 more times, you have to do something. That's it. Yes. There is no more. And I guess I didn't need that because I've lived it. Mm-hmm. But I could see where first off,
it just needs a beat.
Anytime you can put Blythe Danner in a scene, do it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Take out one of the scenes with him and his daughter.
I mean, she's there. She's game. She's, and she's and you've worked with her before. Like it almost feels like they had to cut something out for time.
Well, and it could be. I mean, and that would be. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and you're like, oh well, it's implied, and you get the payoff later, and you already had it set up. Like I can see where they like in their head figure out like, okay, this is a scene to cut, because even you have the line when she returns to the thing. It's like you missed a lot, and it's all implied that something went down. Like it's all said, so it's not like you're missing. It's not like you're sitting there like, that like it just feels like emotionally you're missing something, but not. Narratively, you're not missing a thing, and so it makes sense to cut that. Yeah. So I mean, I can see why they make that, but
I can see why they did the way they did, but again, you have Blythe Danner, man, put her in a scene.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of like Ted Danson. If you got Ted Danson, make him a bartender in a neighborhood bar.
Ava said I would have liked that scene.
Yeah, I mean, how could you not? I mean, Blythe Danner, she just.
She's great. And
her and Nick in the scenes that they had together were real. I mean, you really thought, oh, this is his mom. This is, I never had a feeling that any of these relationships were forced. You know what I mean? They all seemed genuine.
I did have one note. My one note is about this is that. Are we supposed to believe that Nick Offerman is a lifelong New Yorker with his accent and his and like because like Blythe Danner is playing like I'm a New Yorker and I've lived here my whole life and this is my rent controlled apartment and then you're like and her son's Nick Offerman, who's I don't know.
Well, he was in a band for 13 years. He lost his.
Yeah, he moved around a lot.
He picked up a Chicago accent. Yeah, somehow along the way.
He sounds Midwestern.
Midwestern, yeah. Picked up a Midwestern accent somehow along the way.
Yeah. Well, same thing with Ted Danson.
Yeah.
Something else I wanted to say, just a small critique, is that the mom died because she was killed in a bicycle. Like, I guess someone.
That's funny.
That's
such a specific thing.
I know. She got hit riding a bicycle. Which is not that uncommon.
No.
I wish there would have been a little bit more when it came to the mom and her death. And I wish there would have been more of a fight with the bicycling. Because her mom was killed in a biking accident. She doesn't know how to ride a bike. I wish it would have been more there. And I wish that the mom's death would have had I appreciate the fact that they don't lean into it. It's kind of refreshing, but also you going to her death spot where there is a bike memorial.
Yeah, so that's not. These are not funny things, but they're kind of. It's funny because
she just learned to ride a bike, and he doesn't say anything. I mean, I was thinking you didn't say anything.
That's the payoff to the whole bike thing. Is that her saying that because it's never said again. It's such a specific thing.
Her dad doesn't go, what the hell? What do you mean you learned to ride a bike?
Yeah. There's no daughter of mine's gonna ride a bike after what happened.
But they killed her mother. Didn't you expect a couple of lines about that? Yeah.
Every day I see one bike, and it's that bike statue that New York City erected for my wife's death.
Yeah.
Which I don't.
I thought she was gonna die from
Yeah, it was for his wife. It says memorial. Which does New York in this situation put up bikes, full bike statues for every cyclist that's murdered in the city? Or
maybe he paid for it.
Well, they are in Brooklyn, right? It's not like they're in the city.
You're right.
So I thought I just assumed she died from a disease or cancer.
I know, me too.
Yeah.
The whole movie, I was thinking,
and then here's a statue of a bike. Oh, that's her name. Oh my God, she died from being hit by a car.
And so one of the growing
it's a lot to
moments
take
for
in.
The daughter was to learn how to ride a bike, and she tells her dad, and he doesn't say anything.
He
didn't say, "Oh, that's nice." He just didn't say anything, and
I liked the moment where she said, "Hey, you want to go ride a bike at Coney Island?" and that pause, that was well acted and and that was and you could tell there was this trauma there, and I've never learned to ride a bike. There was a lot there that I was that almost made it worth it, of just that interaction of and then it was sort of the conversation there that I wrote about. I thought there was a gravity that he knew what that meant, of course, and it's essentially that I don't think he would be mad at it. It's just that it was a trauma that he could never confront, and that I think that there was a lot unsaid there. That's I'm happy, or doesn't know how that you did this on your own. Or something. I could never bring myself to do that. There was a lot. I felt like there was a lot there of you're exploring this grief in some sort of way, and I'm glad that you did this, or maybe not. I don't know. I thought that was maybe fascinating, but it did seem out of left field. The bike thing, it is a pivotal part of this movie, but it's the screen time given to bikes is so small, but it plays such a weirdly crucial part to this movie.
You're right. There is that. I do remember that part where she pauses and you can see her being and then they go and do it. And so I appreciated that, but I don't know. I just felt like the bikes. Mm-hmm. The bikes were the biggest enemy, and I wanted to have a little more screen time. Because there's a lot of
We haven't said anything about Kiersey Clemons. I think when I saw her, I first saw her in Dope, which I mentioned last week whenever we was talking about this, and she's it's my favorite performance by hers, and it was her first time, and I'm like that this person's going to be a star, and it just never has quite worked out. She's Irish West in the Zack Snyder Justice League, and she made it into the cut, and I guess she's going to be in. Maybe she's going to be in Flash. I don't know. But like
she is in the Flash, according to Google.
So but I've always thought she had something really fascinating, and I was really excited about this movie. And she's solid in this, but I still didn't think that. I don't know. It didn't reach the heights that I was expecting.
Great voice.
Great voice. Yeah, absolutely.
Really yeah, she
absolutely
really did. Beautiful voice.
Her love interest, Sasha Lane, I thought was very good. Mm-hmm. And speaking of them,
she does shine. She just every time she was on the screen, you could not take your eyes off of her.
Sasha
she was in Loki most recently.
Yeah, she was in
something Loki. Something I really appreciated that the movie did is that the dad knows she's gay, or assumingly. And the first question he's like, "Do you have a girlfriend?" And she's like, "No." And then he's like, "Oh, a boyfriend?" And normally it's the other way around. I just it's such a small thing, but normally it's, "Oh, do you have a boyfriend?" And then it'll go, "Oh, a girlfriend?" But he starts with a girlfriend, so like he knows. And so I thought that was just a cute little scene, small, but I don't know. It just shows that he cares.
Yeah, there's a lot of little like I thought this movie was a jam packed full of these little great moments, and that added up to being really beautiful. Like it was little moments like that I thought I was it's jam full of things that are little well written little pieces of human relationships, and it was really fun. I do think there's something, and I wanted to sort of say this about his films that I can't put into words what's off about them. There's something slightly off about these films that are like, it's like a funhouse mirror of a movie in a respect. I don't know if it's like the sheer earnestness that it's done with that makes me nervous, or how close these characters are playing it naturally into characters that are similar to them in some sort of way, and that in the earnestness makes me somewhat nervous. That's the only thing I can come up with. But they seem off in some sort of way that I can't pinpoint. But I don't know. It's fascinating. And I'll hopefully if I watch more of them, I can figure out what exactly it is. But the
more I think I appreciate this movie.
What are you gonna say, Diane?
I was gonna say there were times when I thought, "Is this a satire? Am I watching a satire?"
That's fascinating.
And not knowing that, and then deciding, no, it's not. This is really an earnest.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's so on the edge.
Yes.
That's what I think makes you nervous. It made me a little uncomfortable a couple of times because I was like, wait a minute, is this supposed to be satirical?
I would agree with that. I think that's something because it's so close to real life that like it's kind of painful at times to sort of, I don't know how else to say it. Like it's got this feeling that's like you're what, like I'm saying, like it's like a funhouse mirror of it's like blurring the line of reality and film in this way that's like makes me slightly uncomfortable in a way that I can't put into words of like and so I don't know that it's and I felt that way with The Hero too, and but there's these little choices that knock you out of like, oh, this is a film, because it's quite obvious these are like choices made from like a filmmaker, and it's obvious these are being written lines, and then all of a sudden you start to feel like it's just these characters that are like not even characters, these actors saying like it's this push and pull. And the fact that it's completely earnest, but then also about something that's about art, that there's all these different things that's like popping me in and out and making me feel a little uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, I like it, but it is I don't know. I feel like I'm jerked in and out of this movie at times. because of this unease that's there. I don't know. I'm glad I'm not alone, Diane.
Yeah,
I agree.
I mean, I had a couple of moments where I was like, wait a minute, is this for real? Because, with Nick Offerman, you really, he can do that whole tongue-in-cheek thing really well. So you don't know if he's pulling your leg or not. If you've ever seen those Sling commercials. Yeah, anyway. So, yeah.
Okay. Any other notes you guys have?
No.
Cool. Alex, would you recommend this movie, and what would you rate it?
Yes, I would recommend this movie. I think it is good. To give it a number, I'd say a 7, a nice solid 7. To give it an emoji, there's 2 emojis that come to mind. One is like maybe
can't take
a microphone
2
or a
emojis.
guitar.
Okay,
but the main one for me is going to be the father-daughter. I think there's a father-daughter emoji.
Okay.
Or a man and a young girl standing next to each other. If you have access to that one, I give it the family, the dad and daughter emoji.
Okay, and you would recommend this movie, you said.
I would.
Okay. Well, Diane, would you recommend this movie, and what would you rate it? There's your father-daughter.
No.
That's so sweet. Wrong colors, but so sweet. Yeah, I would
basic color.
This movie. For all my fans out there who love Hallmark movies like I do, this one is actually a cut above a Hallmark movie by a long shot. So definitely a watch, even if you have to rent it. I would give it, if Cade lets me, a guitar and a keyboard.
Oh, Diane's really pushing.
Wait, there's
this.
a lot of drinking in this film. There were so many.
Yeah, say in your corner, Diane.
I checked. There were no shot glasses. There are no shot glasses. There are no.
They were drinking the little.
There's no brandy sniffers. I mean, they didn't. None of the things that they were drinking out of are actually emojis.
There's not a shot glass emoji?
No.
I love the fact that he's like, you can't drink out of a shot glass, and then he immediately pulls out a shot glass for his. He's like, are you going to join us? Oh, sure. And then he pulls out a shot glass and downs it. That was a funny bit.
So
by Ted Danson.
Diane mentioned about renting this movie, and that reminded me of the hassle that I had to go through for this movie.
Okay, I forgot that we put that off. What is your? Go ahead and tell your story.
Right, so I am now, because of these 2 movies, I am a proud Redbox member.
Oh wow!
He owns the giant Redbox, one of those big Redbox.
The big ones.
Yeah, I went and bought a Redbox outside of my apartment.
Proud owner of
Redbox. So I made it. I got a movie, and then I went to log in today, and I spent about an hour trying to log into Redbox. I had to change my password, but it wouldn't let me change my password. I had to download the Redbox app on my phone just to change my password. I got locked out of my account on my laptop for 30 minutes. And I think I finally realized when I was logging in again right before we started that I forgot the A in mail in Gmail. It wasn't telling me what was wrong.
Gmail.
It was Gmail. Yeah, it was coming back Gmail. So I spent an hour trying to get this movie, and so I went from my laptop to getting locked out for 30 minutes to resetting the password, to downloading it on my phone just to purchase it on my phone. And I did do the HD version, and I would recommend the HD version. So now I have the Redbox app on my phone.
What do you, with that, we're not, of course, sponsored by Redbox. Maybe Alex is personally sponsored by Redbox, who knows? But but what, nor are we from any streaming service, but Diane, whenever you rent, what do you rent from?
Amazon.
Amazon is what I used to. We love our Jeff Bezos. The practices of, of that company.
I rarely have to rent any, but if I have to, usually just use Amazon. I have an Amazon Prime account because I have to order stuff for the people and dogs that I take care of through Amazon.
Yes, absolutely.
So, it's interesting. And Jeff, if you're listening, Jeff Bezos, if you Google Hearts Beat Loud and then how to watch, Amazon is not on the list of where to watch it.
No.
It is, I didn't even think of going to Amazon. Maybe it would have been cheaper. I don't know. But it's Redbox, Vudu, YouTube, Google Play,
$2.99.
Apple TV, and Redbox.
It was $2.99 at Amazon.
That was the same for me. To watch HD, I could have spent $1 less and watched the SD version.
And I always check Amazon first, even if it doesn't say. Check Amazon.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
Did you know in this movie? I just read this in this little interview with Nick Offerman that although he plays the sax and the piano, he did not play the guitar, and that he actually taught himself the songs, on the electric guitar, and he plays them. They didn't dub any of the music. They played it live while they were filming it, which is kind of rare too. Usually music is, they act it out and then they dub it in later, but they didn't on any of these. They actually played it.
And really well recorded music too, like for it to be live and everything. Like that was really, really great. Yeah. Well, we know he plays the piano from his time on Last of Us.
Yes.
Which we all watched Last of Us, right? We all three of us watched Last of Us.
He was amazing. He needs to be nominated.
He plays another Frank.
Plays Bill.
Oh, that's right.
It's another
Bill.
Frank.
He was Bill.
Frank was the other one. I thought the same thing. Yeah.
Bill. That's right. It's Bill.
Yes, I never mind. I like this movie a lot. I found it to be incredibly enjoyable, despite how some weird, little different things here and there. I really did like it though. I thought it was very moving and very it was kind of a feel good movie. Like it had some really cool fun vibes, but also had some weighty thing. So you had like this a lot of emotional depth that it explored, and about growing up and about aging, and it was just a lot of really cool things. I love the visual palette of this movie, and I wish more things would not. People are scared to give a movie to be so poppy looking, and I'm like, but I found it so beautiful. So bring back poppy colors, I say. In films, I don't know where they've been. I don't know if they've ever really were huge, but I put them out. Pop the colors. I'm going to give this movie a heart, an actual heart,
an actual heart.
A
You've
human
been thinking about that one, haven't you?
I have.
You've been wanting to use the heart. You've been wanting to use the heart.
I was going to use the heart last time for Personal Shopper because she had heart problems in that movie, but in this movie, it's all about the heart, the actual heart.
It is.
And they beat loud, I've heard.
Hearts beat loud.
Hearts beat loud.
Hearts beat loud.
Hearts beat loud.
Wow. I think we should move on to next week.
Okay. Next week we have, so now we're going to head into preview time where we talk about our next week's movies. And Diane's going to be looking up where these are at.
Ava gives it a bite. That's funny.
That's hilarious.
Oh
that's funny.
Oh, it doesn't have a show
terrible.
to it.
Oh my
really
God.
Wow.
That's
God, why did none of us think about the bikes? I guess because we're we're good people, right? we would never make a joke about it, but Ava will, and we endorse Ava's joke about it. Yeah. Okay, we all laughed, which means we fully endorse it. Okay, preview time, and we'll talk about what we're watching next week here on Double Feature Movie Club.
And now, preview time. When it comes to entertainment, you can't beat a good film. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
Let's take a look at what's coming your way. This is the next week on Double Feature Movie Club. Next week on Double Feature Movie Club's a fun time here. Our theme, of course, next week is some could say it's specific. It's very specific. It is horror set in 1990s Europe. So, so we're gonna get pretty niche here. Our two movies that we will be watching is what's this? Let's see if you're here. 2019, movie Climax, starring Sofia Boutella, and then we're watching the 2015. I want to say that's what that is. The numbers are all the way over there. 2015 movie Kill Your Friends, starring Nicholas Hoult. Both set in 1990s Europe. Somewhere in Europe, in the 90s.
So Climax is playing on Hulu.
Oh,
or Showtime.
Wow. Okay.
Or
Showtime.
Amazon Prime.
Showtime.
Plus as well.
Showtime. And
it's an A24 movie, so it's on Showtime.
So it's on Showtime because it's an A24 movie. Kill Your Friend is on Tubi for free.
Oh my goodness!
I love Tubi.
Tubi's out for the rescue again.
I love Tubi. I wish they would sponsor us because we love
Tubi.
them.
They're pretty great. So next week we'll have on guest Sam Carrico from the Film Fan Club, which is a YouTube channel that we've had Sam on here before. So
he loves horror movies, doesn't? And he I
think he watches. I think I would say I don't know if he. I'm sure. I was like, yeah, I think so. I think you're right. So he's here to talk. He chose the night, so that's fun. I am excited to have him back. Last time he was on, we did The Monster and Night Moves. Oh. So that was our Halloween episode. He's back now for it's Oscar night next week, so we'll try to get out of here and see the Oscars, I guess. But like always, we are a little long-winded with our stuff too. But this week, so check those out on Showtime, Climax, and Kill Your Friends on Tubi. So we'll see how Diane, you a big horror fan? You excited for the return of horror films on Double Feature Movie Club?
Haven't we talked about this before?
I feel like we put it off enough. If I make it all
the way through, then it's not too bad. Yeah. There's a better chance that I will not make it all the way through with a horror movie than any other type of movie. What about you, Alex? Do you like horror movies?
I think they're fine. I mean, it's not my preferred genre, but I like them. I mean, they're good. But they're. My girlfriend Lexi likes them a lot, though.
I can honestly say I've never seen any of the Scream movies.
Oh, Diane.
None of them.
You need to watch them all. I love Scream. We're going to talk about that next week on our horror, which also, fun fact, 90s horror, like that's perfect for Scream. I'm going to say I planned that. I'm going to say that was all planned.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll be getting a 30-minute rundown of Scream. What is this, 16? Scream
it's
16?
6. It's Scream 6.
Okay.
And so I'm
like the Fast and Furious movies.
Yeah, just like the Fast and Furious movies. They're on, shorter time period, they're already on 10. But yeah, no, I appreciate you being on here, Alex. I love it when you're on here. I'm glad that you're here to promote our sister podcast, Cade and Friends. It starts this Wednesday. It's a great episode. Alex Butters America. It's very fun. We get to know what Alex is up to. We didn't ask him today what he's been up to because he gets into it all on Alex Butters America.
And eventually, I will have an actual chair, so I'm not moving around on my bed the entire time.
Well, I think that's tradition, right? It's tradition.
At this point, yeah, it's not doing my backs any favor or my back any favor, but You know, it is what it is.
What I was asking you in the intermission, as they were loudly blaring at us to grab candy and popcorn and all that, and you guys couldn't hear me, I was asking you, Diane, does your back hurt less as you get older or more?
More, much more, much.
Oh.
As Ava could tell you more. Yes.
So
Ava's
it's
really
not
tall. I probably shouldn't say this, but I don't want to tell too much on you, Ava. But Ava's very tall. And tall people.
We've tried to keep that under wraps on our podcast.
Well, they have more back. Well, and I'm
how
really short.
How tall Ava is has been a big secret that we tried to keep on this show.
But and I'm really short. But I will tell you that tall people, the older you get, I mean, it's the harder it is on your back.
Bigger they are, the harder they fall.
Harder they fall, that kind of thing. But yeah,
yes, biggity boys and diggity dogs.
Your spine has a lot of work to do. So, as you get older, the more, what do they call it? I was trying to think of what the word was. Where your mid muscles have to do more work because you have your spine starting to go.
So it's not.
It served me well.
So is it just a complete slope of like it is a dramatic drop, or is it a consistent drop, or is there some lulls in the aging of the back?
I don't know
if
I have the answer to that. I think it depends. If you were an athlete, it's going to be, by the time you're 50, you're really going to be hurting, If you're not an athlete and you have good,
Are you an athlete, Alex? Never asked you this.
Not, nor do I have good health practices.
Yeah, there you go. If I could give you any advice at all, I would say start doing sit-ups now, build your core, because that's really what takes care of your spine. Is your core strength.
I'll do one right after we get off.
There you go. Now, I will tell you, Ava's in good shape though, so she's younger than me too, which helps a lot. But she's got more core strength than either one of you two. So I'm pretty sure you're both in trouble.
Core strength.
Core strength. That's right. Lots of sit-ups. Mm-hmm. But anyway,
Alex.
It does help though to sit in a chair. And maybe not a futon.
I would assume so.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you enjoyed. And Ava's giving advice in the chat. It says a stretch, even a little bit, helps a lot. I don't know.
By the time you get to my age, you have to stretch before you even get out of bed. Or you can't. Okay, I'm not that. Yes, maybe I am. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what this dynamic works, Diane. Is these anecdotes like that. That's fun.
I try not to think about the fact that I'm old enough to be your granny. Thank God I didn't have any kids. I'd really feel old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you never aged that way because you didn't have kids.
I think that's probably true. I never grew up. I didn't have any responsibility and.
No, I think you didn't lose that part of yourself is what I was saying. That
that's what it is.
Yeah. It's subtractive, not additive.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's
take
possible.
away from you. You don't add to your life.
It's possible. It's possible. Kids age you, they say. I don't know.
Yes. Well, I
never missed them. So I never missed them.
Yeah.
So I don't mind adopting grandkids like you guys. And a lot of people, call me Aunt D.
Yeah.
And
you legally adopted us, right?
No, you're not in the will. That's what you're asking. No.
So that's what I heard. I heard we're in the will, Alex.
When I start shoplifting and the police are called, I've got your name, Cade, as my closest contact.
Oh,
in an emergency
that's
call.
not worth being listed in the will. Okay, that's nice. Well, that's sad.
Nope.
That's sad news to hear here live on Double Feature Movie Club. That
Alex, watch the way back. The way back.
Way back.
4
way,
ways.
way back.
The way,
I'd be glad you did.
Way back.
I think about you
so far
every time
back.
I know. I think about you every time I think about that movie. I think, oh, this is going to be Alex's life.
Well,
surprise! You're gonna have to watch
so
it. So watch it, and you'll get
a
I haven't ever seen the movie, obviously, because I wanted it on our show. But oh well. I enjoy having you on here, Alex. I love that. We'll of course have a bunch of episodes coming out on this season of Cade and Friends with you and I and our dynamic, where we get to, I don't know, not talk about movies and just I don't know, what are we doing, Cade? We cut loose, right? We cut a rug. We cut things.
We're doing something. We're buttering America.
At first, we're going to butter America, and then we'll see where it goes from there. That's step one. Step one, butter America. Don't know the other steps just yet, but at the end of the list, it's profit. But step one is butter America.
I already feel greased up.
Somewhere is get Patreon, and that gets us some profit.
Somewhere is filling the hole.
Subscribe to our TikTok though if you're not.
Yes.
Cade, we do post TikTok. Do you post Double Feature Movie Club TikToks on Cade, on just the Cade Thomas TikTok?
On the Cade Thomas TikTok? Yeah, it has. So we do right now. I guess we haven't really talked about that on the show. We'll do that before we wrap up here. We do these 60-second reviews on the YouTube channel. We have an Instagram page now that's on, and then also on my TikTok. What's that at the Cade Thomas? So check it out. Follow us everywhere. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram at Double Feature MC. That's where we post a bunch of exclusive content. So if you love this show, be sure to follow there. There's, like I said, 60-second reviews. We preview the shows, and we it's a lot of fun. Our Instagram's really cool, and our Twitter, Diane and I share that, and we have a lot of fun on there sometimes. So check us out there.
Yes.
Alex, what do you want? What do you want to plug? Plug your stuff.
I was just going to plug the at the Cade Thomas TikTok because I am featured on that quite a bit. Follow me on Twitter if you want. See Lexa Lair. Otherwise, just follow Cade the TikTok page. I guess you can follow my TikTok, Clair Bubble. Is it? I think it's still Clair Bubble.
Yes.
I don't think I changed it, have I?
No, I don't think
yes.
so.
I might eventually post something from our podcast again. But you can really watch probably our most successful series, the KFC trilogy.
Yes, it's a trilogy.
It had its conclusion, and it's the most recent video as of this posting.
Was it a conclusion or was it a soft reboot? That's my question.
As of right now, it's a conclusion. But if we get another one, I think people would look back and say this is
the pivot point. Yeah, that was the yeah. It's one of my favorite things I've ever worked on is Alex's is ghostwriting for Alex's KFC trilogy.
And Joseph who's been up with us. Joseph helped
bridge the gap and speak to a younger demographic in the third installment.
Yes.
That's why I think it was somewhat of a soft reboot, because it's a new path forward. It's taking the tropes that has been existed in the two previous KFC installments, but going in a new, interesting direction while also sticking with its roots. That's what I think about the KFC trilogy. So check it out, Diane, if you haven't. And everybody else.
Everyone, it has been a pleasure. I am an hour ahead of everyone else, so it is an hour
really
late
for you.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks for watching. We do our live streams here, 6 p.m. Central Time on youtube.com/Cade Thomas and on twitch.tv/ or whatever, there, all the stuff. And then you can also listen to it next day, Monday mornings as a podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, Double Feature Movie Club. Click all the buttons, as we say, right, Diane? Click all the buttons,
right.
Rate us 5
all
stars, subscribe, whatever, all the buttons you see. Thumbs up, thumbs down, but Probably end on thumbs up.
No thumbs down. There you go. 5 stars.
Yeah, click the thumbs down briefly before switching it over to thumbs up. That would be much appreciated. Click all the stars starting at 1, ending at 5. Just work your way up and all the buttons. Well, thanks for listening. Next week it is Climax and Kill Your Friends, horror movies. Thanks for watching Double Feature Movie Club. Bye.
Bye.